When the brisk autumn wind rolls in and the nights fill with gloom, we gather to hear stories about the things that will make your blood run cold. Dim the lights, lock your doors, and do not look out your windows. You've now entered the darkness of horror. Welcome to October's Curse. The wind howled through the graveyard, its eerie whispers skimming over the tombstones like the fingers of unseen ghosts. The moon hung low, casting pale, fractured beams of light across the cracked earth, making the place seem like it was caught between worlds, neither living nor dead, but waiting. The cloaked figure stood solemnly by the open grave, his bony hands gripping the scythe with practiced ease. The Grim Reaper, the eternal agent of death, never questioned the dead. It was not his job to wonder why or how they met their end, only to escort them from the realm of the living to the beyond. But as he peered down at the body in the grave, something was different this time. The figure lying in the dirt, it wasn't a stranger. It was him. His breath, cold and ragged, came in short gasps, a sharp pain pounding at his temples. He didn't know how or why he had ended up here. His fingers twitched as they traced the edge of his hood. His own touch felt foreign, as if it belonged to someone else. His heart hammered in his chest, but it didn't belong to his body. No, the beating was too rapid, too frantic, as though it was trying to escape. With great effort, the figure raised his head and locked eyes with the Reaper. The world around him blurred, his mind scrambling, frantic, suddenly flooded with the heavy weight of knowing, I'm dead. The thought whispered in his skull, but it made no sense. How could he be? The pain in his head was unbearable. It was a hot, searing ache that sliced through his consciousness like a blade. And then it hit him. The final moments before this. The life he once knew, slipping away from him as everything faded to black. The sound of a struggle, the coldness of the blade sinking deep into his chest, the horror of realizing in that fleeting instant that he had been betrayed. The fear had gripped him, then paralyzing him with an overwhelming certainty. I am going to die. His final breath, a gasp of disbelief, had echoed in the air. The last thing he felt was pain, sharp and intense, as his body gave way. And now here he was, staring at his own lifeless form in the grave, no longer sure of anything. The Grim Reaper, his face hidden in shadow, spoke without moving. His voice, a hollow rasp that echoed with centuries of forgotten souls.
Do you remember now?
He asked, his gaze unwavering. The man, no, the former man, could only stare back, unable to speak. He didn't want to remember. The memories clawed at him, and yet they felt so distant, so unreachable, like pieces of a shattered puzzle he could no longer put together. But the more he tried to turn away from the past, the clearer it became. He had been a killer, the one who had chosen death for others, the one who had reaped countless souls in his time. But now, he was the one to be taken. And with that knowledge, the cold grip of terror tightened around his throat. The Reaper's hollow eyes seemed to pierce straight through him, as if reading his very soul.
The scales of justice are often blind,
the Reaper intoned.
But death sees all.
The man's heart, if it could still be called that, quaked within his chest. It wasn't just death he feared now. It was the agony of the unknown, of being lost in a world where he no longer had purpose, no longer had control. His final breath, drawn with trembling lips, was heavy with regret.
I didn't deserve this,
he tried to say, but the words came out strangled, weak.
I didn't know I would be the one.
The Grim Reaper knelt slowly by the grave, his eyes softening, just for a moment. He looked at the broken soul before him with a flicker of something, almost like pity.
But you knew.
The Reaper said, voice steady and calm.
In the end, we all know.
And with that, the cold earth closed, sealing the man's fate forever. The wind howled once more, and the graveyard fell silent. The last breath he had taken, the fear in his eyes, and the unbearable pain in his head, all of it became nothing. And so, the cycle continued.